Coming off a win on home turf in Cairns, Harriet Burbage-Smith is here to cause trouble in the Queen's Top 3 race. She's the returning champ here in Rotorua and the one to beat today. On the men's side, Thomas Lemoine, aka the master of speed and style, is on the verge of a perfect season in this discipline. With a win in Innsbruck, Whistler, and Cairns, the Frenchman will put it all on the line for his 4th gold medal in a row here in Rotorua. I'm ready to rock. You?
Main stage. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's mount up.
Oh, come on! Oh, no! Oh!
Check for pulse.
You have got to be kidding me! Come on! Well, welcome race fans to Crankworx Rotorua, Cliff's Speed and Style Rotorua today. And the only word I can think of to describe the day so far is carnage for the women's field. The practice, the preliminaries, and the seeding runs. We're seeing the riders dropping like flies, and it's really had a shake-up to our big Queen title hunt. Coming into today, Jordy Scott and Caroline Buchanan were tied at the top of the leaderboard, and then this. Jordy Scott goes down hard. What a bummer to see that. Jordy Scott hanging out in the hospital right now. Separated AC joint, that's been something that she's had on that same shoulder in the past. She is going to not be our Queen of Crankworx today, and we wish her all the best in her recovery. It's a great day out here. We woke up to thunder and just treacherous downfall rain, but the skies have cleared and somehow the dirt has dried up to the point where we have top to bottom runs flowing on our speed and style course. And it's a beautiful speed and style course, 2 trickable jumps, a ton of rollers, a ton of corners, and some of the best mountain bikers on the planet gonna battle it out. It's a race, you do tricks, you're going to be able to take your time, trim it in half. I'm your host, my name is Cam McCall. I'm hanging up in the booth with Alan Cook. We've got the women's field, we got the men's field, and we got a Queen and King title to give away today.
Yeah, super exciting day, like you were saying. Unfortunately, Jordy going down. The conditions are playing a part in this, but huge shout out to the trail crew, you know, Elevate, getting this thing ready. Even Ewan, the doctor for the slopestyle, he was out there working on the track. So really, everybody coming together to make today happen.
Day 3 of broadcast competition out here in Rotorua. We mentioned it's the 4th and final stop. It's been a busy week already for these competitors, especially Caroline Buchanan. She was the one to beat out there in the pump track. She's been unstoppable all season. She did not disappoint, Alan.
No, she did. You know, and it's been an up and down season for her, but that shows, you know, that determination and that veteran skill that she has. She's really just, you know, sunk her teeth into this Crankworx World Tour and finds herself in a really good spot.
She won 3 out of the 4 gold medals in pump track throughout this 2022 season, and that's how she earned some points to find herself at the top of the leaderboard alongside the other racer in this clip right here, Jordy Scott. They both came into this morning with 826 points. We've got Via Verbeek in the race here as well, Harriet Burbage-Smith, but look at this. Caroline Buchanan charged hard all season, and based on those crashes earlier on today in speed and style, she locked up the 2022 Queen of Crankworx title.
Yeah, well deserved. She really had to fight through a lot of adversity this season and was able to make it all happen.
So big shout out to Caroline Buchanan. And you know what? It's fun and games out there. It's been a crazy day with so many scenarios that we were anticipating, you know, if we did have Caroline Buchanan and Jordy Scott loaded up into the gate alongside each other. And if Via was far enough down the rankings, too far to upset things, it would have been just a grudge match. But you know what? That's why this battle is so insane. We have 4 stops. We have so many disciplines at each stop. And every tiny little bracket matters. Thinking back to the pump track when we saw Via Verbeek not make it into the round of 8, that was the game changer. She's been leading all season.
Yeah, I mean, it really shows that every event and every lap and every turn that these women are out there doing, men and women, it's going right towards that King and Queen title. So you know you can't let your guard down at all throughout this tour.
So let's check in now with Mikey Hatterer as he does our rider presentations here. We're moments away from kicking things off. Cliff Speed and Style Rotorua.
Boost Mobile and Trek Bikes. Make some noise for Caroline Buchanan. And your defending queen of Crankworx, riding for TLD in Rocky Mountain. Make some noise, Miss Via Verbeek. A legend of slopestyle all the way from Canada, the boost master himself. Make some noise for Anthony Mazzeri. Splitting his time between Italy and Canada, riding for CP Gang. Make some noise for Daniel Ferry. Another one of our Trek riders here in the Cliff Speed and Style, riding for Mons out of Innsbruck. Make some noise for Peter Kaiser. Your #1 qualifier, the undisputed king of speed and style. Make some noise for Thomas Lemoine. And in his first ever go for a speed and style, Kiwi rider, Norco Factory Racing, Sam Blankenshop. And Mr. Electric on the bike, the electrician riding for Trek. Make some noise for Mikey Ross. And your reigning king of Crankworx, making it 2 in a row. Put your hands together for Bas van Steenbergen. And rounding out our field here today, veteran Kiwi rider for Specialized, the king of the decade, king of the Vale. Make some noise for Joe Simpson. This is the Cliff Speed and Style. We're going to send these riders to the top and get started with our round of 8 here any moment. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Well, there we go. Riders ready to rip. Nice introductions there from Mikey Hatterer. Let's take a closer look at this course. Obviously the venue, everything condensed nice and tight here. That's why we got everybody in one spot cheering, bringing that festival vibe. But this is where the speed and style course is. 2 jumps, obviously. What do you make of this course, Alan?
Yeah, super awesome course. I was actually able to get up there and get some laps in. I figured more tires on the track would help pack things in, but yeah, super fun track. They did an amazing job here. The jumps are going to offer a lot of opportunity to see those big tricks that these riders are going to be going for to get those time savings.
So we've had this discipline for quite some time now at the Crankworx World Tour. It might be confusing if you're just joining us, but this is a discipline that's been progressing so much in the past few years. Take a look at how much the general progression of Cliff Speed and Style has come over the years.
When I think of the word progression, I think of a Maori saying called eke panuku, eke tangaroa. The word eke means to rise up, and eke panuku, eke tangaroa is related to a waka, to a canoe. A canoe always moves forward, always advances.
The Cliff Speed and Style has been a really good progression grounds. It really pushes us to learn new things, whether you want to or not, but that's the best way that progression can happen.
As the progression goes up, the scorecard goes up, the tricks goes up.
Speed and Style is mixing every adrenaline, mixing the perfect racing and the perfect tricks and landing perfectly straight to be as fast as we can. For sure it pushed people to send it.
All of a sudden people are trying to step up to that next level and just keep the sport pushing forward.
Oh, and Robin Coombs is clean with a backflip there.
Double fist bump.
We're seeing girls doing backflips, 360s, and they're racing it at huge paces as well.
They're going to tighten up here and head to that first trick jump and see what Alma's got. Big lofty 360.
The risk reward is there, the progression is there, and the athletes are hungry.
Lemoine does it! Grabs his 3rd gold medal of the year in speed and style.
When I started Speed and Style, I think my first podium was next to Cam Zink and Nico Vink, if I'm right. Since that day, I was loving it. It means a lot to me.
thoughts on the Nikolai Rogatkin speed and style reaction cam?
Turning it up!
I'm a huge Nikolai Rogatkin fan.
There's so much that can be done, and it's just going to grow and grow.
This constant progression, it's just going to keep moving things forward.
It pushes people to perfection.
It's going to be insane to watch in coming years for sure.
So yeah, good stuff out there. I mean, if this is a new format for some of the viewers out there, it's exciting. You know, we've got so many disciplines on the Crankworx World Tour. Obviously, slopestyle is such a big draw because we love the tricks. This brings them together, and it's kind of similar to ski moguls.
Yeah, it's really cool, and the progression that we've witnessed over the years, it's really fine-tuning with how this sport is really come across. Like, not only the athletes and the tricks, but also the way that it's managed and it's run and how the points are being tabulated and all that stuff. It's really, really exciting now. It's anybody's game. You could be a racer, you could be a trickster, and you have an opportunity here.
Yeah, we're going to pick up competition for the men at the round of 8, and this is how we got there. This is the round of 16. We saw Sam Blankensop as a late entry to the competition this morning based on the fact that he's just been collecting so many points here in Rotorua. The point where he ended up in second place in the King of Crankworx overall title hunt. He wants to preserve that. Second place in King of Crankworx gets you $10,000. So not only did he show up, he ended up in round of 16 with Dylan Crane. Dylan Crane going down in run number 1. Sam Blankensop charging the whole way. He advances. So he's going to be in our show today, and he's undoubtedly going to pick up some valuable points, hopefully take home some extra money today. Now, Mike Ross, the Australian rider, he was also the first rider to ever do a cast roll off a flat drop earlier this season. He will be in the round of 8. Now, Bas van Steenbergen, the guy we've been talking about all season, finds something in the street there when Daniel Cleland happens to over-rotate a backflip. Jackson Frew, another case for a rider who may not be a speed and style specialist, but he found himself in 3rd place in the King of Crankworx overall standing. Says, why wouldn't I do speed and style? I can do some toboggans. He's in our round of 8, along with Anthony Missouri, the boost master, the style cat, knocking out the local Connor Mahuika to make it into the round of 8. So, Bas van Steenbergen, you see it right there. He's been leading the King of Crankworx overall standings for so long, and he has locked it up officially. Sounds like he was celebrating a bit last night, but not too much to be able to compete today in the Cliff Speed and Style Rotorua. And then Thomas Lemoine. This guy has been unstoppable all season, won every single speed and style event contested. He won in Innsbruck, he won in Whistler, he won in Cairns. He would love to do it again. He is the #1 qualifier. That's why you see his name at the very top of these brackets. Look at that, #2 qualifier down there, Anthony Missouri.
Yeah, we saw Anthony getting back on the podium at a Crankworx there in Cairns. We hadn't seen him on a podium in a very long time, but you see him here. He's fired up, 2nd fastest qualifier. I think he's going to be one to watch today.
Yeah, that Peter Kaiser, Anthony Missouri battle is going to be good. Those are 2 riders who aren't racers. They are tricksters, and they've honed their skills on the race course. So expect to see some side-by-side flashy maneuvers on that one. Mike Ross versus Bas van Steenbergen. That is going to be one where you have a diehard racer and a jump specialist. So we've got all the different scenarios and elements of speed and style that we know and love. You know, another thing we know and love on the Crankworx World Tour is Nikolai Rogatkin, the slopestyle showman. He took the win in Cairns just a month ago. He's going to be joining us again here today as our judges insider. He's just one floor beneath us here in our tower, and we're going to be checking in with Nikolai. There he is right now from time to find out what the judges are talking about down there. Nikolai, thanks for joining us today. What are you looking for out there? Who do you have your eyes on?
I'm looking forward to a really, really good round of competition out here today. Obviously, Lemoine, he's dominated in the past, but Anthony Missouri is looking incredibly good on course. And we got a couple other athletes out there that are ready to prove themselves. We had really bad weather over the last few days. It's miraculous that this event is even happening, so I think these riders are going to give it their all today. It's going to be sick.
Perfect, Nikolai. We're going to continue to check in with you throughout the afternoon. Thanks for joining us, dude. Nikolai was just out there practicing slopestyle 2 seconds ago, hops into the booth to join us. He's an animal.
Yeah, definitely an animal. Practice has been cut short because of that weather he was talking about, but he's up here in the booth. what's the speed and style contest without a little Nikolai Rogakin action?
Yeah, we got to love Nikolai Rogakin. But let's talk about that weather a little bit. It was insane. This morning we thought there was no chance we were going to be able to do this. But you just saw a round of 16 highlights. You saw how many tricks are going down. So it's sure to be a great final that won't disappoint. The same way the downhill didn't disappoint yesterday. If you're going to have the sloppiest day of the week, hopefully it's going to be downhill day. That's the only event you can really run in conditions like this. And it was so fun to watch, Alan.
Yeah, it couldn't have been any more mountain bike than it was yesterday in the downhill competition. It was so fun to see these riders push themselves in the most gnarly conditions, and it was a heck of a race.
The crowd was loving it. They were getting splashed by puddles. They were sliding down mud hills. Also, there's no way you can enjoy yourself out here on site at Crankworx Rotorua. Everybody rubbing elbows with some of the best mountain bike riders on the planet, getting autographs, getting selfies, and watching some high-paced racing action, picking up round of 8 for the men's right now. This heat is going to be your #1 qualifier. Thomas Lemoine, undefeated this season, going up against the downhill race specialist. He won yesterday, Sam Blankensop, the 8th place qualifier.
Yeah, awesome to see Sam in this round of 8. He's definitely going to be relying on speed, so watch the moves and the speed coming out of Blankensop. And Lemoine there with a nice double truck. Blanky on the horsepower out of the turn. Both riders looking incredibly smooth. Lemoine, the total package, even in the lead there, coming into the final turn. Let's see what he's got in this last jump. Big no-handed tuck backflip. And then one of the unique things about this course over any other speed and style course that I think we've had this year is the length of the sprint after the final jump. So that's going to be an opportunity for those racers and those riders that have a little more fitness and can put down the power to gain some more time back before they get to that finish line after the final jump.
Well, building fatigue throughout the day as well. The fact that that final sprint is so long, you're pumping so hard and you're also doing tricks. It's so draining, but the ground is so spongy as well. You're losing so much of your energy because of how muddy the dirt is. It's going to be interesting as we progress through the day to see how these riders manage their fitness. Side by side there, 360 double bar spin for Thomas Lemoine, but it's great to see Blanky stepping outside of his comfort zone and getting a trick, because if you don't get a trick,
yeah, you get a deduction. It goes the other way. So yeah, it's really cool to see Blanky out there doing some stunts. Got some X-ups in there. There's a toboggan you see. Ooh, pretty good style too. I'm backing that toboggan. Big, clean, smooth, tuck, no-handed backflip. The lips on these jumps are giving the riders tons of amplitude and hang time, so plenty of opportunities to throw those gnarly tricks.
Sam, you put on such a great show yesterday in the downhill. At what point did you decide you were going to add your name to the start list here for Speed and Style?
I was talking to Jackson, and he was like, yeah, I'm doing it. And we were so close, so I was like, oh, I have to do it now. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a go.
I'm thinking back. I feel like this is the first time you've competed in a Speed and Style. Is that true?
Yep. Yeah, I've never done one of these, so I was just figuring it out first run. Doing some old tricks maybe that I did when I was a kid, some mix-ups, and I don't know what else. So yeah, I need to figure some of the stuff out. It's cool doing it. The track's awesome. It's just like slalom with some cool jumps, so it's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's fun.
It's a good time out there. We just watched a slow-mo replay of that toboggan. Alan Cook gives it a thumbs up, so way to go out there. And congrats making it into the round of 8. Let's see how far you can push it today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's fun.
Yeah, couldn't be more stoked to see Sam Blankensop's name on the list today. And man, is he delivering. So we got the next heat loading up into the gate. Joe Simpson, the Kiwi BMX specialist. So many tricks under his belt. Going up against Daniel Ferri out of Italy.
Gate comes down. Joe with a hard snap out of the gate. Those first rhythm sections are quite technical. It's completely blind coming over that first rhythm section. Both riders able to get their tricks off really smooth. And this is where the speed's really going to start picking up, sprinting down the straight, pumping the backside of the jump for every bit of momentum they can. They even ride up coming into the final Showtime booter.
Oh yeah!
A combo of tricks there.
Backflip bar spin for Ferri, and it looked like a decade for Joe Simpson. Obviously the line between a 360 down whip and a decade is blurry, but that bike looks stable. Looking forward to those slow-mo replays.
Yeah, Joe, super consistent on that decade. We saw him doing it in practice and throughout the earlier rounds.
He looks like he's somehow time traveled from On Any Sunday to here, Crankworx Speed and Style.
Nothing wrong with the vintage looks.
All right, we got some good trick combos here, some 3 variations, and then some bigger combos down to the bottom jump. What do you make of this, Nikolai?
So we got 2 similar tricks, but a bit different. You know, Daniel Ferry going with the truck and Joel going with the Steezy 3 table one hand. I mean, those tricks are similar in difficulty, but to do it with the Joe style is hard. But look at this. Joe has these 360 downside, almost decade-looking moves on lock, and Ferry also on point with the flip bar. So both riders bring in some pretty good moves and looking dialed all the way through.
It's interesting. I mean, you think about the fact that the judges do have a predetermined set of point values assigned for individual tricks. These tricks are of similar value, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, the value of the tricks is similar. The judges are going to be looking at the execution, see which moves they like better, because execution in speed and style is absolutely crucial. It's so hard to do tricks and make them look good when you're trying to race.
So Ferry crossed the line first, and after the trick scores were factored in, Ferry is the leader coming out of run 1 just by 0.16. We'll get them back up to the top of the course. We'll switch sides, do it all over again, and send somebody in to the semifinals, round of 4.
Yeah, one of the most unique pieces of this competition is the opportunity to improve your speed even though you're behind. So if you're in second place and you see your competitor in front of you, you can make a last-minute decision and step up your trick and really cut down your time. So it's really never over, even if you're not in the lead.
You see everybody rolling around on site here with their Crankworx Rotorua official merchandise, and yeah, we're stoked you're joining us on the broadcast now. You can go log on and buy your own merch to fly the Crankworx flag out here. It's been a great season. It's been a fun time, and yeah, we're going to look back on these final moments here fondly. Fun to figure out who's going to get those second and third places in the King of Crankworx overall standing. Still a lot up for grabs out here. Now we got a trick specialist and the racer and 2-time now King of Crankworx, Bas van Steenbergen. All hail the King, long live the King. No easy task to do it once, but to do it twice is ridiculous. We haven't seen that very much in the past, repeat offenders.
Yeah, Baz definitely a Crankworx specialist, really focusing on every one of these categories out here that he's competing in. He's more known for speed, but he's got some really good tricks, and he's really methodical about the tricks he does. You can see he can stay low, and he goes super fast even while doing the tricks. But Mike Ross has some huge tricks. Let's see what they got. One-footed X up to knack-knack out of Baz, and a huge, perfectly executed cash roll out of Mike Ross. Baz pulling a little bit of a lead there. Coming around the final turn towards the Showtime booter. Baz with a knack-knack, staying low, back on the pedals. Mike with a nice front flip. Look at the sprint coming into the final.
So, Bas van Steenbergen with a big gap crossing the finish line. Looks like 2 seconds ahead of Mike Ross, but Mike Ross did have those big high-scoring tricks. A cash roll is going to score incredibly high. A front flip's going to score not quite as high, but still respectable. It looks like after the trick scores been factored in, Mike Ross will be leading this matchup.
Not by much, though. So Baz, like we were talking about in this competition, nobody is ever counted out until all of the scores come in. So Baz is going to have to put down the power on the next one. Mike looking in a good spot. You know he's got those tricks on lock. There's that cash roll we're talking about. One of the best cash rolls in the game. And then coming down here to that final jump, you see Baz, and that's what I was talking about. Look how low he stays on that knack-knack. He's getting the points for the trick and almost pedaling before he even lands to keep that momentum going. Oh, actually a slipped pedal there. I missed that on the first one. I was up looking at Mike's front flip.
He missed like at least 2 pedal strokes.
And he's only, what was the difference, 0.07? So that could have been the difference right there. So he's definitely not out of this round.
So Bas, big congratulations. Obviously, last night you realized you locked up the King of Crankworx overall title for the 2nd year in a row. Did you celebrate last night?
Maybe a little bit. Did keep in mind that we were racing today, so yeah, it was good. I'm very stoked to lock it up.
It's probably nice to be able to breathe a little fresh air. It's probably been a lot of pressure this entire season. What's it like to go back to back?
Yeah, it's gnarly. The second time's definitely harder than the first. But yeah, definitely a big relief, and it's fun to just kind of ride for fun and race with everybody. And racing against Mikey is always wild. He's always pulling out some pretty gnarly stuff. So, no, it's awesome.
Little slip pedal in the final straightaway. What happened there?
Yeah, it's tricky to get back into these clip-in pedals sometimes when you're taking your feet off. So just try to get the power down and slip the pedal.
Well, congrats on the overall King title. We're stoked to have you racing out here today, and go dig some mud out of those cleats.
Thanks, we'll do. Thank you.
There we go. We got a couple shots on screen there with Pat celebrating last night. It's a good time out here in Rotorua. Even when the rain's falling, you know, we're going to find some way to have some fun. No way we thought we were going to have this speed and style finals running today. So this is a nice treat to have Peter Kaiser, Anthony Missouri in the gate. Speaking of treats.
Yeah, this is that matchup that you were teeing us up on earlier. Let's see what they got. Both riders come out of the gate side by side over the first feature, coming into the big jump. Bar spin back flips out of these riders.
Peter got the double bar.
Whoa, Anthony getting a little buck.
No way! I was looking at Peter, he got hoopty. Next thing you know, Missouri was down. I feel like some replays are in order there, figure out what in the world happened to Anthony. We've definitely seen that section of the course, that roller section, taking some victims today. Yeah, Anthony's not done. Oh! Anthony, front flip tuck no-hander, getting pitched over the bars. So the clock has already stopped. The max differential is 2 seconds here. You can't beat back further than 2 seconds. So Anthony will have to make up for that once they get back up to the top of the course and switch sides.
Yeah, good to see a smile on Anthony's face. Obviously a little frustrated, not what he was looking for, but happy to see him healthy, and we'll see him back for that next round, you know. We've seen so many crazy things happen, not only in this category here, but this whole week, so he's not out yet.
Nikolai, take a look here. Did we get a double bar spin backflip out of Peter Kaiser?
Yes, we see the flip bar and then a flip double bar from Peter. Both riders so dialed with the flip bar spin maneuvers. Getting 2 bars in the flip is tough. And actually, I was talking about this section with Anthony Missouri earlier. He's saying, this section is so tough, the dirt is soft, and you're really working the whole time to try to max it out. He just lost his way there, and he went down. We've had so much rain on this course over the last couple days, so it's pretty sloppy out there. But it was sick to see Anthony get back up and try to get back down the mountain, even throwing a fronty no-hand, going down again. But the max differential is 2, and Anthony has some really big moves. So if he really tries to pin it and gets those tricks on point, there's still a chance.
Yeah, he's definitely still got a chance. Thanks a lot, Nikolai. We're watching this replay right now. Anthony, man, anytime you get pitched over the bars after a front flip, there's so much forward momentum coming to an abrupt halt. It's good to see him figure out a way to roll out of that one a bit and pop up pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely good to see him get back up. It looked like maybe he was a hair under rotated, and as he sucked the bike up to him to get that rotation going a little faster, when he landed, he actually sat on his back tire, and that's what pitched him over the front.
So a look at the brackets right now. Lemoine with the advantage over Blank and Saw. Ferry, the advantage over Simpson. Mike Ross with those cash rolls has just a .07 advantage over Bass Van Steenbergen. And of course, we just saw Peter Kaiser smooth through the line after 2 issues from Anthony Missouri. So you see the max differential applied there. Hey, if you're hanging out at home and you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure you go in the little chat box here on YouTube, the Red Bull Bike YouTube channel. We're watching, we're reading the comments. We'll have a little chat with you on here. And we're hoping you're all not only stoked for our broadcast today, but our broadcast tomorrow, slopestyle. Legendary slopestyle course here in Rotorua in honor of Kelly McGarry Magaza. We're doing it November 12th, tomorrow. Local time to be determined. Keep an update on crankworx.com for schedule changes. We're watching the weather. We can't wait to do that. Emil Johansson's gonna be looking for that triple crown. But last night it was all about Deep Summer Photo Challenge. Bryce Wilson was able to take the win. Here's just a couple samples of his photos there.
Yeah,
Tehodo Enrique Penny popping his head out of the lake.
Yeah, amazing photos. Look at that. One of the best year-round riding places in the entire world here in Rotorua. And this is showing exactly why. We've had nothing but rain all week, and they're still able to get out there and have some awesome sessions. The forest dries out super fast. So amazing place to ride no matter the weather.
That photo right there is a good example why you should come join us for Crankworx Rotorua next year. And if you can't make it exactly the same time as Crankworx, just come out here for a vacation. So many trails in the Whakarewarewa Forest. Tons and tons of flowy single track and techie single track. We're at Skyline Rotorua here, the venue for Crankworx Rotorua. All disciplines condensed right here in the hub of it all. Enthusiastic crowd out here today. And believe it or not, they even showed up yesterday in the middle of the monsoon, cheering on riders like Sam Blankensop, who took the win in the Skyline Rotorua downhill course, a legendary area for downhill racing, Alan.
Yeah, one of my favorite tracks I've ever ridden was the World Champs back in 2006. Super famous track. You can see Blanky, you know he was stoked to come out and really send it in that muddy conditions here in his home country to show those local New Zealand fans what's up. And then here he is, and what do we call this?
That's Heckler's Puddle.
Heckler's Puddle, that's right.
It was so fun yesterday. All the kids were hanging out by that puddle, and it became a challenge for the riders to see who could splash the biggest barreling roost over the riders. Sam Blankensop had a flawless run. So many riders that come down to the bottom and talk about not only crashing, but how many crashes they had. So it was great to see Sam Blankensop stomp the win. And to see him here today in Speed and Styles, Keller, he's got 1.1 to make up from Thomas Lemoine here, the Speed and Style specialist.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall order to get past Lemoine here for Blanky, but you know he's not going to leave anything out there. Both riders smooth over the first jump. Blanky laying down the power. Lemoine's going to be keeping him honest on that speed, though. No slouch when it comes to speed or style for Lemoine. Trying to wrap up his 4th win in this discipline this year. Riders having a little bit of fun looking at each other as they cross the beam.
Thomas Lemoine doing what Thomas Lemoine does best, putting down a scorcher run with high scoring tricks and advancing out of brackets. Thomas Lemoine secures himself a spot in the round of 4. Sam Blankensop, though, what an impressive showing. He was an 8th place qualifier, made it to the round of 8, means that he will get 8th place points. 32 points added to Blankensop's total. He's now at 632, playing some defense and solidifying that 2nd place and $10,000. What a ride.
Riders stepping down into the finish corral, hitting this last big Showtime booter. Nice tuck no-hander. Backflip out of Lemoine, just getting warmed up. He's got some big heats ahead of him, no doubt.
I got to back up on that. You're talking about how he has some big heats coming up. I'm looking at how many points Thomas Lemoine has in the King of Crankworx overall. He's got 520. If he wins today, he would get 100 points. It'd be 620. So 632. Blanky does do it, man. Look at that. Blanky's 2nd place in King of Crankworx. But Lemoine obviously looking to win every single speed and style event of the 2022 season, making a full clean sweep. One step closer. All right, next heat loaded into the gate. Joe Simpson on the right side of your screen. Daniel Ferry on the left. Ferry with the advantage of just 0.16. This is a close one.
Yeah, our number 4 and number 5 qualifiers, so these riders are very equally matched up on this course here in Rotorua. Joe with that nice one-handed table 360. Coming down this straight. This is where it's a little soft, where those riders are having a little trouble. Let's see if they can get through nice and clean. Joe laying down the power. He's going to have the inside line, so he's going to score it out just a little bit ahead. It's going to come down to this jump. And he gets that decade perfect. Both riders sprinting as hard as they can across the line. You hear these riders breathing really hard, and you also look at the times of these runs. It's not very long, but it is an all-out 100% sprint from the second that gate drops down to the beam.
Joe Simpson makes it happen. Launching himself into the round of 4. He'll go up against Thomas Lemoine. So Nikolai, take a look back, replay. Similar tricks for these riders on the first jump. What do you think is going to score higher, Nikolai?
It's really tough between those two moves. It looked like Daniel Ferry maybe wanted something more. Look at the way he catches the bars. It's almost like he wanted to maybe throw the bars the other way or get some sort of extra maneuver in there, because the style from the 3 tabs of Simpson is really nice. And once again, Joe Simpson has this 3-downy decade on lock. Ferry with the flip bar, barely bringing it around. And this race was honestly so close. So I think Ferry would have loved that extra bar spin in either the first jump or the last jump. That would have done wonders for him.
You bring up a good point about how stylish Joe Simpson's trick was, and the judges really are factoring that in, right? Like a truck driver versus a really clicked and lazy style on a 361-handed table. The 361-handed table could conceivably get more points, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I've been saying, it's so difficult to execute your tricks in a nice, good-looking, clean way while racing, especially in these conditions. Look at the tires. You're slipping around. So to go off, have the right speed, make your trick look good, like that is master class. So good work there, Joe Simpson. He's moving on. The New Zealand crowd is hyped for him. Let's see what happens.
Thanks, Nikolai. Alan, you race a lot of downhill. Bas van Steenbergen versus some of the more slopestyle specific guys. He's got a good tire setup.
Yeah, he's definitely catering to today's conditions. You know, one of the most famous quotes, one of my favorite quotes is, "Tires is what wins a race." And it can't be more true. It's the first point of contact, so it's unbelievably important to have the right tires. And it's going to be knobbies out here. So Baz launching out of the gate. Remember, this is a super close matchup right here. Mike Ross with that perfect cash roll on the outside.
Only points. 0.7, 7/100ths of a second separating them in run number 1.
Yeah, Mike Ross getting hung up just a little bit in that rhythm section. We saw a few riders having that problem, so Baz is going to extend his lead.
Will he go for a bigger front flip variation here? He does.
Front flip no-hander, manuals out a little bit. Is able to keep it together.
He's laughing in his helmet.
I don't know if the judges are going to give him that manual point, but I'm stoked on it.
I mean, I don't know how he didn't get pitched over the bars on that. He did the front flip, tuck no-hander, landed on the back wheel, held the manual. They're going to have to score that cleaner than if he dropped a foot. They're going to have to score that as a legit front flip, tuck no-hander, but Bas crossed the finish line so much faster. Look at that. It was close at the end of the day, though, just 0.7 after all the numbers were crunched. Bas van Steenbergen moves to the semifinals, round of 4.
Yeah, there's that perfect cash roll out of Mike Ross. Earlier this year, the first to ever do it off of a flat drop, a bunny hop cash roll. Can you do that?
I didn't even think that was possible. I don't even know if there is a video game that allows you to do that.
Yeah, tell me about what you saw on this landing here.
I saw him coming up incredibly under-rotated, and I know he's going to be on his back brake, and I was thinking, well, landing with your back brake, it's going to launch you over the bars, but he held it sturdy.
Oh, battle!
Yeah, looks like Nikolai saw that same thing that you saw.
Yeah, right? No way we were expecting him to roll out of that one. We're in the same boat there as Nikolai.
So the king advances. Mike Ross bowing to the royalty. That is Bas van Steenbergen.
That's the thing about speed and style. You can go up against somebody who has so many tricks like that, but if you're as fast as King of Crankworx Bas van Steenbergen, you can still advance. But two tricksters up against each other now. Anthony Missouri's got to claw himself out of a ditch.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where we're going to get to see a rider maybe make that opportunity and step up the level of tricks. Let's see what Anthony's got. Flip bar spin on the first one.
Just one bar spin for Peter Kaiser this time.
Coming back. Anthony getting that rhythm section smooth this time on the white course.
Peter's just got to be smart here.
And let's see what Anthony does on this final jump if he tries to step it up.
Come on, Anthony. Oh, the lawn dart front flip for Anthony Missouri. Anthony crosses the finish line first, but man, he was back by so much. There's no chance.
The technicality on that lawn dart front flip, it's so difficult to take your eyes off of the rotation. You know, your head is what's leading your entire body, and in the middle of that, he stops rotating his head and lets the bike and the body catch up, and then tucks it back in right to pull into the landing. So super technical trick there out of Anthony Missouri.
Look back at replays of jump number 1. Peter Kaiser, knowing that he had such a huge advantage, not rolling the dice and risking it, going just for the backflip single bar spin. We saw him chuck in 2 bar spins in run number 1 against Anthony here, but 2 crashes in run run number 1 for Anthony, meaning that he had an uphill battle here in run number 2, but this lawn dart front flip, this is maybe just for the fans. It's so cool to watch somebody laying out and staring at the landing for the first half of that rotation.
The lawn dart! The lawn dart! Just toes.
Who's he looking at? Who's he looking at? He's looking at like, yo, does anybody disagree? I do not disagree. Nikolai, I was saying the same thing.
Yeah, I was looking over to the judges to see if they were as hyped as me. I love the lawn dart maneuver. It's a move that I did so much back in the day. I know Anthony's got in his bag, but I was not expecting it there. A sick maneuver for the crowd, and the lawn dart always gets everyone fired up. So you see me looking around, I'm making sure everyone's hyped up.
It's like, hey, everybody else, do you get this? Are you feeling what I'm feeling? This is awesome.
Exactly. Bummer to see Tony go out. He's been looking like one of the best guys. Second place qualifier, only 0.3 behind Lemoine. I wanted to see that from Tones, but stoked for Peter Kaiser as well. He's a really, really sick rider.
He is, man, and I swear, thank you, Nikolai. He is so underrated. It's a great opportunity right now for Peter Kaiser to have an opportunity to make it into the gold medal matchup. He's going to have to battle it out with the king, though. No easy task. Fast Van Steenberg and Peter Kaiser. That'll be a good one. Lemoine and Simpson. Number 1 qualifier, number 5 qualifier. What do you think? Do you think Joe Simpson's going to dig even deeper into the bag, maybe try to decade both jumps? Because it's going to be tough going up against Lemoine.
Yeah, you know Joe's got a big bag of tricks. He's going to be going up against the number 1 qualifier, which is no easy task, but I'm excited to see what he's got. He's going to lay it down, no doubts about that.
Lemoine, flawless, 3 wins under his belt in this 4-stop tour. 2022 Crankworx, number 1 qualifier today. He would love to make it a clean sweep. It's no easy task to grab that crown. The king and queen of Crankworx, the most difficult competition in mountain biking. That's a pretty appropriate way to describe this. All these different disciplines, we're talking about speed and style, slalom, pump track, slope style, downhill, enduro in some cases. As many times as you can put your name on a start list, that's another opportunity to get some of those points. Bas Van Steenbergen did it last year. He came into the 2022 season as the reigning king. Via Verbeek entered the 2022 season as the reigning queen. But this year, this afternoon, I should say, Caroline Buchanan, after some crazy stuff happened to the other riders in the speed and style, she was able to do something she's always wanted to do. She was really pushing herself a ton toward that goal. And of course, it's a lot on your plate to take on that task. A lot of riders not even wanting to admit that they're thinking about king or queen of Crankworx. But Caroline Buchanan did it. Bravo.
Yeah, it's awesome to see her in the gold medal round tonight and able to lock in that Queen of Crankworx title. It's really cool to be talking to these riders and hear how much they're putting into that king and queen crown. They're basing their whole years on it. The training leading up to it, what they're going to be doing in between this Rotorua and when we come back here next year in 23. So it's really awesome to see, and I think that's a huge reason why we're seeing the progression at all of these events going through the roof, because these riders are really dedicating their seasons to this.
No doubt about that. Harriet Burbage-Smith and Via Verbeek in the gate right now after so many competitors dropping out today. We're down to 3. So this right now is a semifinals matchup for Haz and Via, trying to figure out who's going to meet up with Caroline Buchanan in the gold medal matchup.
Haz with an amazingly smooth backflip, looking like she's been doing it her whole life. She's going to be out here looking to back up her win that she had here last year as well as last month in Cairns. Let's see what they got coming down to this Showtime booter.
What does Harriet have on the final jump for a tuck no-hander and a suicide no-hander for Via? I mean, there's a lot on the line right here because we had so many riders bow out. I'm talking about riders like Vinnie Armstrong, Ellie Chu, Robin Gooms, Martha Gill, Jordy Scott, all with issues today. So the winner of this matchup between Via and Harriet will grab the bronze medal, those third place points, as the winner, the loser of this round, I should say, will grab the bronze medal, as the winner will go and battle it out against the queen, Caroline Buchanan, for the gold medal.
Yeah, look at Haz with that backflip. She's gotten so comfortable and so confident with that throughout the season. Look at perfectly executed, spots the landing and brings the bike right to the landing. That's the thing about flipping, is you can't get ahead of yourself. You got to spot that landing and just kind of steer the bike in. And here's the 2 different types of no-handers, with Haz doing a more traditional tuck no-hander, and then Via pinching the seat with her knees and doing a suicide no-hander, actually made up a little bit of time on that sprint as well. That's something, you know, we might be able to attribute to the bike choice. Via on a little bit more of a trail, short travel trail bike, and Has choosing that slope style. A little bit smaller wheels, a little bit less knobbier tires. So it's cool to see these riders out here pushing it on different machines and seeing where they benefit.
Watching that flip from Harriet, that's the flip of somebody who's comfortable backflipping. And, you know, that's been the game changer for Harriet this season. She was the winner in Cairns just a month ago. Took the win last year here. That backflip is so valuable here in speed and style. Take a look at the men's brackets.
Yeah, we got some exciting men's brackets here coming up. We talked about Lemoine and Simpson. The #1 and #5 qualifiers been very evenly matched up, but through two completely different routes. Baz, the #6 qualifier, really relying on that speed. And Kaiser, the #7, with a big deep bag of tricks. So these are both going to be really interesting rounds here in the semifinals.
Looks like we got Thomas Lemoine loaded back up into the gate. Joe Simpson,
Correct, 2 minutes.
run #1 of their semifinals matchup.
2-minute break. I'll test the gate.
I love these quotes of the day. What do we got here? This is from Thomas Lemoine, AKA Lil Moine, his rapper name. Look him up on Spotify. On the dance floor, we do air bar spins. They actually had a performance in Whistler Village earlier on in the week during Crankworx this year, and I was thinking how crazy would it have been for people who were just there to party, watching these two, it was Tim Bringer and Thomas Lemoine, watching these two guys up there rapping, and then show up later in the week for slopestyle and see those same two guys on the podium.
Yeah, super exciting. Obviously, very talented and creative minds, whether on the mic or on the bike.
Look at these statistics, so many wins for Thomas Lemoine. Going all the way back to Rotorua 2020. 6 wins there under his belt. He would love to make another one happen here in Rotorua. Get back on this podium. It's been a couple years since he stood on the podium here at the top step. He was second last year to Billy Meeklum. Bumped into Billy earlier today. Really good to see him cruising around, walking, no crutches. He had a crash in Whistler earlier this year, broke his pelvis, but he's out here, he's got a bib on, he's taking photos. He wouldn't miss it. So yeah, healing vibes out there to Billy Meeklum. Stoked to see him. So Nikolai, you compete with Thomas Lemoine all throughout the year on the slopestyle circuit. What's it like watching him as such just the guy to beat in speed and style? And what is he like as a competitor? You battle against him all year long.
Man, Lemoine is just too impressive. He is just attacking everything he does. I mean, he's so determined to win in speed and style every time. We missed basically the entire practice today in slopestyle. We haven't been riding all week. And he's like, no, I'm going 4 for 4. I'm getting out there and I'm riding speed and style. I can't believe the determination of this guy. It's inspirational. And yeah, we're just watching the best speed and style athlete of all time take the course.
No way, so he didn't even do any slopestyle practice today?
No, none. We've been waiting around in our hotel rooms for 2 days while it's been windy and rainy, and finally all the boys are firing at the moves on course. Lemoine is going hard over there on speed and style, pinning it through the soft track. And yeah, he's looking the best out of everyone out there. So like I said, so impressive, inspirational, determination, second to none.
Thank you, Nikolai. That's going to make it even more exciting watching Thomas Lemoine take to the slopestyle course tomorrow, knowing that he has less practice than everybody. He decided not to compete in pump track. He's a guy who's won so many pump tracks. He wanted to just focus on this right here, making the sweep of all 4 stops this year in speed and style, and of course slopestyle tomorrow. Here we go, Joe Simpson, Thomas Lemoine on course.
Yeah, we might have to start calling Lemoine Mr. Speed and Style, as he's really found the formula to win in these events. Solid moves out of both riders on the first jump. Lemoine just rocketing through those rhythm sections. So much power getting laid down. Every time his back tire and front tire's on the back side of the jump, he's just accelerating. Nice tuck no-handed backflip. Joe gets that decade straight back on the pedals. It's so impressive to see these riders doing these huge tricks and being able to get back on the pedals instantly.
So Joe just 3/4 of a second behind Lemoine there before the tricks are factored in. You see the numbers being tabulated right now. Lemoine will be the leader of this matchup. And wow, they're very even on tricks because that differential stayed right around that 3/4 of a second mark. So within reach for second run here for Joe Simpson. Oh, so many elements of that combo for Lemoine.
Yeah, let's watch it. 360 bar spin, and an X-up. So that's a quadruple combo, 4 tricks in one jump.
No matter how good the style is from Joe Simpson's 360 one-handed table, it's no match for a 360 with 2 bars and an X-up.
Yeah, and then coming down into this final jump, big tuck no-handed backflip, very smooth out of Lemoine. You can see he actually points the front tire towards the finish a little bit. You see these jumps are a little hipped out. So he had the wherewithal not only to pull the trick perfectly smooth, but he's actually aiming towards the landing to shorten that track just a little bit. Very, very creative and crafty, these riders out here, and nobody more than Thomas Lemoine.
Oh, the crowd loving every minute of this. Crankworx Rotorua 2022. Rubbing shoulder to shoulder with the heroes of the sport out there. And we're taking a peek at our next heat loaded up into the gate. This is going to be Bas van Steenbergen and Peter Kaiser. Peter's gonna have to dig deep into the bag of tricks to match the speed of Bas van Steenbergen. Look at that start.
Yeah, Baz already with 3 bike lengths over the first.
Oh, dude! He had the seat bounce and his foot came off.
Yeah, he slipped the pedal right before the lip and went off the lip with 1 foot on the pedal. All of his weight was on that 1 pedal and shot him off. He was lucky not to fly right into Peter Kaiser. He was able to collect himself. Oh, he looked like he slipped out again there.
So a chance here for Peter Kaiser if he can hold on. A backflip, knack. Really tight gap there, just a half a second. Bas van Steenbergen crossed the line first after a huge issue up top on the first jump.
You know, when we were talking to Baz a little bit earlier and he was talking about that other slipped pedal that he had, it's pretty impressive that he is actually clipped in and doing tricks. So he's unclipping, taking his foot off, and then clipping it back in before he gets on and back on the power, adding a whole nother level.
Nikolai, what in the world do you see going on here?
Oh my goodness. Bas is lucky he's so fast. If he was side by side with his fellow competitor, he would have been getting landed on. He's so lucky that he's so fast and so far ahead of Peter Kaiser that he swerved into his lane and was able to get back into, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable stuff. Backflip double bar spin from Peter Kaiser like nothing is happening. He lands and sees Bas right there.
I mean, that's going to tighten up this matchup.
Whoa.
Some bike skill there to be able to save that when all of your weight is loaded into the wrong part of the bike under all the G-forces in that lip. It's insane that he didn't just get pitched.
Now we watch here. Look at Baz coming into this final jump. There's that knack. He actually clips his foot back in right there and straight back on the horsepower. I cannot tell you how technical and how hard that is.
You gotta be so smooth, one with those pedals to be able to unclip when you want to and clip back in when it's time for about 8 more pedal strokes to the timing lights. All right, crazy stuff happening here. That's what we've come to expect from Cliff Speed and Style. We've got Lemoine over Simpson by just 0.76. And some issues for Bas van Steenbergen means that Peter Kaiser is the guy to beat right now in that matchup. Those big tricks definitely playing toward his favor. But so many good trails out here in Rotorua. Just the Redwood Forest has so much to offer. Alan, you've been getting a fair bit of riding in this trip so far.
Yeah, it's mandatory to get out into the forest. You know, as soon as I got checked into the hotel and built my bike, I pedaled out there for about 3 or 4 hours. It's so unique. I hadn't been here for about 3 years, and the way that they're developing the trails on the forest, it is an active logging forest, but they work so closely with the local trail builders that things are constantly developing and changing every year out there.
So if you want to plan your trip, go to trailforge.com, take a look at all the trails you can be riding if you find yourself down in beautiful Rotorua, New Zealand. We'd love to see you here for the Crankworx Festival, but even if that timing doesn't work out, get down here, plan a vacation, get some riding in. Redwood Forest with those ferns, man, all the decomposed organic material makes for such ridiculous dirt. Also, just the volcanic soil.
Yeah, one of the things I like so much about the trails out here is the variety and diversity. Very tight, very technical, but then there's also, you know, you'll be cruising through the forest and there's huge jump lines, so really something for everybody out there.
All right, take a look at the tire choices there for Via Verbeek.
Yeah, Via definitely going to be choosing those knobbies out here in the softer ground. A little bit higher PSI than you would expect out of a normal trail tire, but she's going to be trying to get as much momentum generated out of those tires when pumping on the rollers and the transitions and when she's landing.
Run number 2 here for Harriet Berber-Smith and Via Verbeek. Harriet with the advantage of .2.
Yeah, super close matchup right here.
Yeah.
Has with that smooth backflip. Via getting a no-hander off. Coming down this middle straight. This is where it gets technical. Via able to jump out of that one.
Oh, Via really needs to dig deep here. Harriet's gonna have so many points for that backflip. Suicide no-hander for Via, and if Harriet didn't get her hands off, that could be a game changer.
Yeah, I didn't see for sure. I had my eyes on Via. I didn't see if Harriet did get a trick off or not. We'll have to see.
Let's listen, see what she says.
For the last berm.
So Alan, explain what happens if you don't get a trick and you do a straight air.
If you don't get a trick and you do a straight air, it's actually a point deduction, so they'll add to your time. It's the opposite of what you're going for.
All right, let's take a look back at jump number 2, see if Harriet got a trick off. We had the suicide no-hander from Via on the left side of your screen. Ah, she does. She gets them off. That's the difference. Even if the hands just come off a little bit, you're getting time taken off rather than time added on.
Yeah, good to see her getting those hands off just enough for it to count really quick, but it counts. And we're gonna see her advance to the
Let's
gold
go back
medal
up
matchup.
to jump number 1. This backflip from Harriet is definitely so valuable to have in speed and style. Sometimes if you're good at doing a backflip, it's such a mental trick. It can be easier than the technicality of doing a hand or foot trick.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there is safety in a backflip because you do keep your hands and feet on the bars and the pedals the entire time. So that really is going to minimize the risk of slipping a pedal, slipping a hand. You know, you land really straight and smooth and be able to get right back on the pedal. So backflip is an awesome choice, and we see Harriet doing it to absolute perfection.
So Harriet, way to go. You were able to beat Via in that matchup. With everybody dropping out today, it's been so crazy. This means you secured the bronze medal today. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Cheers. Feels good.
We're watching you do that backflip right there. That's been so valuable for you all season. How much of a mental hurdle is that? And, you know, it just comes down to the time put in during the off season, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a massive thing for me this year to do that, and I feel like I've got it kind of in like a memory now, so it feels good, but everything in between that is like just waiting for the next one, which is scary, but doing it.
Yeah,
chill.
it's definitely working. Well, congrats on that bronze medal. We're going to get the calculator out, see what that does to your queen points. Way to go.
Thank you. Cheers.
This means that Via Verbeek advances into the gold medal matchup against Caroline Buchanan, who has secured the queen title. That's going to be a great matchup right there. Back to the men. We've got our heat loaded into the gate. Right side of your screen, Thomas Lemoine. Left side there, Joe Simpson. Lemoine with the advantage of .76. Simpson's going to need something more on this first jump.
Yeah, not a huge advantage there for Lemoine, but we know he's got a huge bag of tricks, and look at the speed building. And he's able to get that quadruple combo off again, but here comes Joe right back.
If you're banking on a mistake from Lemoine, you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, he is too cool, isn't he? So smooth and consistent with all of his tricks. We see Lemoine stepping it up a little bit with a bar spin flip, so he's building his race. He's not getting too excited and going too hard. He's doing exactly what he needs to do in each heat, and he's going to build and build and build until he gets to that gold medal matchup, and you know he's going to send it.
Well, Thomas Lemoine one step closer to a clean sweep of this whole season of speed and style events. He makes it into the gold medal matchup. Joe Simpson still has a chance to grab a bronze medal. He'll go to that small final. And in this next heat, we're gonna be able to find out who will join Lemoine in that gold medal matchup. Look back here.
Here's that quadruple combo. 360 bar to X up. Gets a little bit sketchy actually on the landing, but able to get right back on the pedals and keep his momentum moving. Joe getting that 360 one-handed table off super nicely as well. And then he's gonna catch up and pull right back up next to Lemoine on that inside line. And this is where those riders were talking about how the softness of the track was really making those rhythm sections tough. Lemoine coming in with a nice bar spin backflip. And then Joe knows what is in front of him, just gives us a nice steezy behind the back seat grab. We used to call that the ground chuck back in my day.
Nikolai does those in a cash roll. Hoping to see some of that action tomorrow. Who knows what these guys are gonna choose for their tricks tomorrow. But Thomas Lemoine securing that spot into the gold medal matchup. It's good to see Joe Simpson back as well. He's definitely been a rider we've seen compete here at Rotorua Speed and Style in the past, and got that trademark style. Love those decades.
Yeah, Joe with a strong BMX background. It's awesome to see him out here on a little bit bigger bike, mixing it up. Definitely doing way more than holding his own. Let's bring it back to the top, Cam.
Well, Bass has been showed up here in Rotorua to compete for so many years, and you know, just this country in general plays into his training program. We caught up with him about what it means to be back down here in NZ.
I think my favorite part of being back here in Rotorua is just, it kind of feels like a little bit of a second home to me. Like I always spend a decent bit of time here, and just New Zealand in general. Yeah, the Rotorua crowd is definitely pretty high energy, and I think they love their racing and obviously love slopestyle and all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. There's always kids running around asking for autographs and all that stuff. It's really good.
So impressive that Bass was able to make it out of that last matchup. And now he's going up against Peter Kaiser. He's got 2.6 of a deficit. Peter Kaiser leaning on those tricks. Bass Van Steenbergen is gonna need either a mistake here from Peter or to just break the sound barrier.
Yeah, 2.6 is gonna be a tall order, but you know he's gonna give it everything he's got. Both riders clean over the first trick jump. Baz accelerating, gets a little bit loose there. So much power Baz has, it's unbelievable.
Oh man, I mean, this is a sizable gap here. He got the foot off, strong through the line. The backflip knack-knack for Peter Kaiser, smooth as the clock ticks on.
Whoa, did you see that? Peter almost missed the beam. He had his head down, pedaling as hard as he could. And just before the finish line, looked up and realized he was not pointing in the right direction and was able to make a quick correction and get back on the track. Let's see what happens here.
Okay, Peter Kaiser, 105 points, jump number 1, 109 points, jump number 2. Let's add it there. Let's go back and take a look. When you're Peter Kaiser, you know you need to get this big trick that you've been throwing here. The flip double bar would have really helped. But Bass Van Steenbergen, knowing he had to claw his way back from such a heavy deficit. Peter Kaiser trying to balance, like staying smooth with knowing that he's got the king of Crankworx next to him. Look at that double.
Yeah, that pop up there, it looked like he got a little bit behind on the pump. His rhythm got just a little off and wasn't able to get the pop he needed to get over that tall spot. Let's see it from the front here, but he was able to keep the bike straight. So much power, so much strength. Here it is right here. He's gonna bounce off the top, and you can see Peter, he gets up and over and is able to catch that backside. But Baz with the power down. And look at that gap.
I mean, he was in the air on the trick jump while Peter was still on the setup jump. But let's take a look back at this. Peter gets his foot on after that corked out backflip knack-knack. Takes a look at where the finish line is, realizes, oh, I'm gonna miss the timing lights.
I was like, full on, whatever we go, and then
he put his head down and then looked up.
Yeah, he was putting everything he had into those last few pedals. Looked up just in time and was able to stay on track. Having a good laugh at himself there.
All right, what's the story going to be here? Oh, it is tight. Whoa! Peter Kaiser does it. He advances. It was so close. So those tricks paying off there. It sure is a good thing he made it through the timing lights.
Yeah, absolutely. That would not have been a fun way to miss out on the gold medal round.
So it'll be interesting to see what Bass comes back with next season. We were hanging out with him earlier. He was showing us some phone clips. He's been working on some tricks. He was able to grab the King of Crankworx title despite having rotations in speed and style, but who knows, we may see him with some new tricks up his sleeve next year.
Yeah, definitely.
That could be a game changer.
Absolutely. You know, talking about these riders, you know, basing their season and planning their season on these events. You know, Baz, he bought a van when he came out here, and he's already planning his early return to New Zealand next year to get those good blocks of training in before next season starts.
We got the gold medal matchup loading into the gate for the women. It's going to be Viver Beek going up against the #1 qualifier, Caroline Buchanan. Make sure you do not miss Slopestyle tomorrow, Slopestyle Sunday. Tune in right here, Red Bull TV. There's a lot on the line out there. We had our very own Nikolai Ragakin win the last stop in Cairns. It was so great to see him back on the top step of the podium. We saw issues after going 8 in a row for Emil Johansson. He's back riding again. We were watching him on the course during practice today. We've also got riders like David Godzip, Tim Bringer, and Eric Fedko, who almost won his first stop last year, but last stop, but Nikolai was the spoiler. Yeah, the course is a little bit mucky, to say the least, Alan.
Yeah, you hear us talking about some of the struggles and the issues that they've been having. That course being as slippery as it is, when they're putting the power down, a lot of these riders are using slick tires because they're a lot faster rolling resistance. That's how you would set up your bike when you would come to one of these events. But you know, weather changes, things happen. Knobby tires are going to be the way to go for this. But these riders having to get momentum and squeeze everything. It's almost like wearing a weight vest, you know, trying to run up a set of stairs with a weight vest. You're not getting the feedback that you're normally getting, so you're having to push into the berms, over the rollers, and on the pedals 3 times as hard as you normally would, and it's just so mentally hard because you're not accelerating as fast as you wish you were. So you really got to keep your head in it and be super precise in order to get down this track with the speed needed.
Tire choice, such a tricky one for speed and style because you're balancing so many different elements. Well, there she is right there, the queen of Crankworx, Caroline Buchanan. Let's see how she sets up her speed and style bike in this Maxxis bike check.
Hey, I'm Caroline Buchanan. We're here at the Rotorua Cliff Speed and Style, and this is my Maxxis bike check. The tyre combos that I'm running is a pace in the rear. I've got a high roll in the front, 2.3 in the front, 2.1 in the rear. It's a new course, so it tends to break down. I've gone for a knobbier selection in the front and then more of that high rolling pace in the rear. So that's the combination of making sure I've got the speed, but also making sure I've got that traction in the front. Tyre pressures I generally start off with at the start of a weekend would be 40 front, 40 rear, and then depending on the course I tend to lower the pressure if I need a little bit more traction. The only changes from pump track to say speed and style that I would adapt would be raising my bar height just to help with the tricks of the speed and style elements. With my forks in the front from pump track I always run them locked out, but coming here to speed and style, depending on the course for this one, I'll run them basically a quarter turn off locked out. Halfway through this season, I've had some big injuries, so I've actually changed my game plan a little bit. I'm actually clipped in for the last 2 rounds of speed and style, and that's been helping me focus on the speed, but then just dialing in those tuck combos and veering away from the flips for these last 2 rounds. I'm Caroline Buchanan, and this is my Maxxis bike check.
So the tires you pack in your bike bag versus the tires you end up in the start gate with really depends on what the conditions are doing.
Yeah, we can see that after a little bit of practice, Caroline made the decision to put that high roller 2 on the back as well as the front, getting that pace, that more high rolling speed tire off of her bike and really focusing on that traction needed to lay the power down and keep that traction in the turns.
So Nikolai, we just heard Caroline talk about, the injuries that she's been battling this year and the choice to run clipless pedals and, geared toward more of those tech combo tricks. Do you think the judges have been liking that strategy?
I mean, that strategy's obviously been paying off for her. Caroline's had some rough crashes this year. If you remember in Whistler, she did that flip where she nose cased and had a huge slam. So those types of slams they stay with you, you know, and when you can score almost as good with some of the combos that Caroline is doing with her execution, it ends up being a very smart strategy. So Caroline's obviously very experienced in competing in every way. So she's on it, and she's always going to be on it. So the bike setup is key, especially in bad conditions and in this discipline. So just expected for her to be like that on point.
Thanks a lot, Nikolai. Good insight there. Yeah, those tech combos, they can score high, but they are such a dice roll. You would think that the dice roll would be the rotation, but sometimes to be able to be absolutely perfectly straight in the air, to be able to take your hands off and do more than one trick, it can be a little bit harder to line up than just committing straight off the lip to get that rotation rolling. Bronze medal matchup loaded into the gate now. Jo Simpson, Bas van Steenbergen. With the bronze medal on the line here.
There's always room for another trophy.
He's a trophy hoarder.
Okay, comes down. Baz with a huge jump already, a bike length ahead. Unbelievably smooth and fast over those first setups. Oh. Gets that knack clean this time. That's where he had an issue in that previous heat. Nice up and over. Coming down. You see how hard they're pedaling, trying to generate that momentum because of these soft conditions.
So Baz got that knack, but Jo Simpson absolutely stomped the Decade.
That might have been one of the smoothest Decades we'd seen Jo do all day, so he's definitely improving and getting more consistent. Just to see him do that trick and almost be pedaling before his head is even pointed in the direction in front of him.
So that's all you can do really if you're Bas van Steenbergen going up against Jo Simpson, a rider with that big tech combo down there at the bottom. You can try to put that max differential on that 2 seconds and then hope for the best once the trick scores come in. Looks like Jo Simpson will be the leader going into run number 2 in this bronze medal matchup. But look back at jump number 1.
Baz getting that knack off. There's that huge, styly, one-handed table 360. Very Brian Foster-esque, if you ask me. One of the most stylish BMX riders of all time. And then here's Baz. Look how low he stays on that jump and is on the pedals before he's even clipped in, which he has to clip back in, and then gets it to the line. And then there was that smooth Decade downside tail whip 3 out of Jo, bringing it all the way across the line. You saw Jo show it was just a small margin, but that's all. You know, a win's a win. They're gonna bring it back up to the top and be fighting hard for that bronze medal in the next round.
This is some good stuff right here. The gold medal matchup for women's category. This Cliff Speed and Style Rotorua. It's all about Caroline Buchanan, our newly crowned Queen of Crankworx, going up against Via Verbeek, the 2021 defending queen.
The number 1 and number 3 qualifiers, so these riders are quite evenly matched up. 2 very different bike choices.
Oh.
Both riders getting the tuck no hander off.
I mean, Caroline just stole the crown. Via's going shoulder to shoulder with her. How much does Via want to grab this gold medal?
I mean, I'm sure she wants it just as bad as she's ever wanted. It's her opportunity to make a statement. Next season is not that far away.
Oh, Caroline with the big combo.
Yeah, tuck no hander to toboggan, bringing it across the line. The combos are going to compound your points and make it just that much better. So the more tricks you can do while you're in the air on each jump, the better.
Caroline crossed the finish line 0.8 ahead of Via. And Nikolai, you got to imagine that tuck no hander to toboggan, that 2-part combo's got to score higher than the Suey, right? Here's a look at jump number 1. Side-by-side tuck no handers, a little synchronized swimming action.
Oh, look at Via looking over almost at Caroline there. Both girls getting no hander. This is a crazy matchup. It's Caroline, who just won the Queen of Crankworx, and then Via, the last 2 times she won the Queen of Crankworx. So Via very hungry for this one. But let's look at the combo from Caroline that we were talking about. The late tuck and still getting the toboggan in. Very strategic and very impressive. Vi also getting a nice extension on the no-hander, but that two-part combo is going to score huge for Caroline. Look, full extension on the no-hand and a nice T-bog there. So
what do you think
impressive stuff.
is more technical and tough to do in a pinch when the pressure's on? Something like a rotation where it all happens off the lip, or something that has so many different stages to it, like that combo?
You know, honestly, every rider has their own skill set and things that they're comfortable with. I thought that it was easier for Caroline to flip because she's been dialed with them in the past, but after some crashes, she's come to the combos and she's so dialed with them. So it all depends on the rider, Cam.
That's right. Caroline Buchanan evolving the strategy throughout the season. It's obviously been working. She would love to add this gold medal to a very successful 2022 season. So Caroline Buchanan will be the leader here of this first run. Vi Verbeek will just have a little over a second to make up. We'll get them back up to the top switch sides in a minute, but right now we got Thomas Lemoine and Peter Kaiser, the gold medal matchup for the men.
We've been talking about Lemoine being a specialist in this category, looking to make it 4 in a row and sweep the season.
Let's see if Peter can make it an upset.
Looked like Peter had a little bit of a twitch on that gate there.
Yeah, oh no! Peter Kaiser fumbling, going for that backflip double bar spin and losing contact with the bike. Oh, Lemoine is stoked right now. He's gonna keep a smooth run together here. He's charging so hard despite Peter falling up at the top of the course in the first jump. He may not have even known. Look at that, he looked back.
Yeah, he was still giving it his all. I don't know if he knew that Peter had that issue. But it looked like Peter had stepped it up. He was going for more than just a single bar spin flip. And then unfortunately it bit him.
He's going down swinging though. You know, he's still got another chance right now. Anything can happen in Lemoine. Like I said earlier, if you're banking on Lemoine making a mistake, you may be barking up the wrong tree, but anything's possible.
Absolutely, anything is possible out here.
Almost missed mine too.
Yeah, so you hear Peter talking to Lemoine there at the finish line. He missed his hand on the second bar spin. And when that happens, there's not much you can do.
I was like,
Lemoine! He's unstoppable.
We've got Franklin Lester here on our live chat saying the Dark Kaiser lost control of his dark magic. It consumed him. Look at this. Here's what went down. Backflip, single bar spin went smooth. Trying to sneak that second bar around. Stopped halfway. Look, he was trying to grab it, put his hands in an X-up position and be able to unwrap that. We saw him do it earlier in the day.
Yeah, he's definitely capable. Unfortunately, maybe just a little bit of pressure from being in the gold medal matchup, or maybe being against one of the best riders to ever compete in this sport. Speed and style specialist, that is Thomas Lemoine. Yeah, Peter's still having a good time, showing these fans a heck of a show.
Peter Kaiser still has a chance. We'll get them back up to the top switch sides.
Awesome crowd out here in Rotorua for the final stop of the Crankworx World Tour.
Did you believe how many fans we had out yesterday for the downhill in the mud?
I couldn't believe it. I love the enthusiasm out of the New Zealand fans. Inventing Heckler's puddle. Just soaking it all in. Here's Baz on the downhill course.
Busy week for Bas van Steenbergen. Started off with the Tanifa downhill at 6th place, and then he rolled things right into dual slalom with a 3rd place and another bronze medal to his collection, going up against Thomas Slavic. And then why not just carry the momentum into pump track? 2nd place, silver medal, going up against Niels Bensink. So much consistency necessary to hold the train together all season long. The amount of podiums this man has stood on, and the most important one is going to be later on when he gets crowned the king for 2 years in a row. New Zealand's been good to Bas van Steenbergen.
It has been good. You know, he talked about, we were chatting with him a little earlier, how much beneficial training he was able to get. Because, you know, back home in Canada, the weather's turning, it's winter. So he came out early, was able to get a nice little training block in, coming in super confident and comfortable on all of his bikes. That's half of the battle in its own right there to compete for king. You got to travel with 3 bikes. It's not easy.
So Joe Simpson with the advantage now. It's just 0.06 of a second. Bas van Steenbergen looks like he was shot out of a cannon.
Baz definitely going to leave every ounce of energy he has on this track right now. There's no tomorrow for him. Joe's going to keep him honest and look to be perfect with those tricks. But Baz just sending it down the course, almost already at the finish line. Let's see what trick he's got. There's a knack, and can Joe do it? Yep, there's that decade down with 360 again. All right, let's see how this shakes up.
I can't believe how many perfect decades Joe Simpson has done today.
We got BMX Josh going for Joe here in the live feed.
There it is. I mean, man, Joe was close there, just a half a second after the scores were calculated in. Bas van Steenbergen adds another medal to the collection. It's a bronze here today in Cliff Speed and Style Rotorua.
Yeah, it's a long day out here. These riders doing runs since about noon. And like we've been talking about, the soft conditions out here is just gonna sap the energy. But Baz being able to put it all on the line with his speed and make it happen. There's that huge Blue Falcon, Brian Foster-esque 360 table one-hander out of Joe. And Baz staying incredibly low, straight back on the pedals. The fact that he's doing that with clips is blowing my mind.
I know, it's ridiculous. I mean, you see people can't even get their foot out to just put their foot down and stop riding, fall over.
Yeah, I mean, our president can't even do it.
Bas, way to go not celebrating too hard last night. You were able to earn yourself a bronze medal. Walk me through the day of competition today. When you woke up this morning, did you think we were even going to be able to hold this thing?
No, definitely not. They did an incredible job getting this course ready. I definitely didn't think we'd be racing today, so hats off to all the trail builders, and yeah, stoked.
How long did it take you to get so dialed with those clipless pedals that you could unclip, do a knack, clip back in for 8 more pedal strokes through the finish line?
I don't know. Clearly, I need to be more dialed because I slipped off of it into the first jump earlier, so yeah, I don't know. It's kind of scary sometimes.
You kept it entertaining for us. You've been entertaining us all season. It's been a heck of a week for you here in Rotorua. Congrats on the King crown and congrats on this bronze medal.
Thanks so much. I'm stoked.
Stoked for good reason. Big week out here for the Bas man. All hail the King.
Yeah, it's been a long season for sure.
What's he doing there?
That is a fist pump. The King has ruled once again.
Kudos to our cameraman. That was a sharp, nice slow-mo shot. Thanks for joining us here on the broadcast. Make sure, if you still want more Crankworx, when we sign off today, you go on to Instagram, follow us at Crankworx. Use the hashtag Crankworx to share your experience hanging out at home, eating the popcorn, having yourself a beverage on the couch. We'll look back at run number 1 in this gold medal matchup for the women between Caroline Buchanan and Via Verbeek.
Yeah, both riders having a little bit of trouble coming out of that very difficult rhythm section. And we see Caroline with that combo tuck no-hander to toboggan versus the suicide no-hander out of Via.
So they're back up in the gate right now. The advantage is going to belong to Caroline Buchanan. It's just over a second. Here we go.
Gate pops out. Caroline, that BMX background's definitely going to have a little bit of an advantage on the gate. Gets that double tuck no-hander off, straight back on the pedals. Coming into this rhythm section is where we've been seeing a lot of riders having some issues, but they're both through clean. Leaving it all out on the track.
Via battling for just over a second here, she needs to make up.
Tight no-hander out of Caroline across the finish line.
There we go, that's the season there. Big breath of fresh air for these two competitors who have been going so hard since we kicked off this season in June in Innsbruck, Austria. Caroline Buchanan, your 2022 Queen of Crankworx, grabs the gold medal and the silver for Via Verbeek.
Yeah, hard fought, no doubt, out of Caroline's. Really stoked to see her stick it through with all the injuries and the adversity that she's had. You can tell how bad she wants it, talking about changing up her whole program, going to clip pedals, switching up her game plan with the tricks that she was doing, but still able to come away with the crown. Looking at this live chat feed here, we see BMX Josh saying hopefully Crankworx is in Rotorua again next year so he can compete in Kids Works. Well, Josh, it is. We will be back here in 4 short months. Fans soaking up, having all these top-tier riders here in their home country. It's not too often that these riders make their trip all the way down to the Southern Hemisphere. It really brings out the crowds. They want to take advantage and see their favorite riders pushing it to the limits out here.
Caroline, what a season it has been for you. You were such an exciting rider and one of the biggest names on tour for so many years. You left us for a little while. We were absolutely ecstatic to have you back. And when you made the decision to focus on Crankworx, was the Queen on your mind?
It's definitely been on my mind. I've been head-to-head against queens in the past, like Jill Kittner. I had a crack at this title 6 years ago and couldn't beat Jill. So since then, it's been a little out of my mindset with slopestyle BMX Olympics injuries. And this year, I mean, I still can't believe it. I mean, Crankworx is home for me. This has been such a battle. I even rode downhill this week, which is not my forte, and I'm just so honoured to be queen. I'm honoured to ride against these girls. For Geordie that crashed out in practice, you never want to see another girl go down, and honestly, it's just been a shift of royalty with Geordie, myself, Via, and we've all been so competitive, and I just love everyone, and thank you so much.
Wow, congratulations. I mean, we can feel your enthusiasm out there. It's been so exciting watching you all season. Soak it up, Caroline.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, good stuff there. What a day for Caroline Buchanan. And the day is far from over here. We have our gold medal matchup for the men. Up there in the gate, Peter Kaiser with 5 seconds to make up. Thomas Lemoine just needs a smooth run.
Gate comes down. The conditions aren't going to get any easier. We got a little bit of rain falling from the sky. Let's see if we can get this done. Huge bar spin backflip. Oh, what is...
I mean, with the rain coming down, Lemoine really makes sure he doesn't slide out.
Lemoine doing exactly what he needs to do, keeping Peter right in his sights. Has that inside line on the final turn.
It's so slick right now. Yes! All right, Lemoine holds it together. I mean, anything could have happened right there with the rain falling from the sky. I don't know if you can tell on your screen right now, but it is coming down. That's why you see these guys choosing easier tricks. Smooth through the line for Thomas Lemoine and Peter Kaiser. Lemoine sweeps the speed and style season for 2022. What a feat. He grabs the gold medal. And congratulations to Peter Kaiser grabbing the silver.
Yeah, awesome day, perfect day for Lemoine. Not only sweeping the season, but sweeping the day as your fastest qualifier out there today. Winning all of his heats, all the way to the gold medal here.
Thomas Lemoine, ridiculous, man. You won all 4 speed and style races in this 2022 season. You even skipped slopestyle practice in order to grab this gold medal today. Are you stoked with your decision now or what?
Yeah, I'm stoked, but I'm kind of stressed for tomorrow. It's going to be my first time ever dropping in a contest with trying the course the same day. It's going to be challenging, but this is what we're here for, man. This is the last one of the season, so I was like, I can't just don't do speed and style. I just love it. I try. We'll see tomorrow what happens in slopestyle.
Awesome, awesome job. This is Alan up here in the booth. You know, this is the end of the season. I know you got one more event, but what's your thoughts on next year? Are you coming back? Are we going to get to see you do this again? Are you going to keep this going in speed and style?
Yeah, man, for sure, speed and style. As I was telling, I'm not sure if I'm riding a lot more pump track. We'll see after the small winter we will have. For sure, I'll be in speed and style and slope next year. And we'll see.
Well, big congratulations, my man. I was going to say get out of the rain, but I know you're just going to take a champagne bath here in a minute. Excited to watch you tomorrow in slopestyle. Way to go.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
So slopestyle tomorrow, you're going to see Thomas Lemoine as well as the rest of the huge names in the sport of slopestyle. Nikolai Rogatkin, Tim Bringer, Eric Fedko, Griffin Paulson, Tom Eisted, they're all going to be here. And you know what? It's going to be a crazy show because not only have we had limited practice out here, the riders are going to be battling it out, but we do have a new altered course out here on the Magaza course with some very interesting features. So make sure you join us tomorrow for slopestyle. You know what? We got to throw out the huge congratulations to Caroline Buchanan, not only for grabbing the gold medal out here today in speed and style, but securing that Queen of Crankworx overall title for 2022. Thomas Lemoine for making it a clean sweep in speed and style in this season, grabbing all 4 wins. Peter Kaiser making a big name for himself here. We always knew he had what it took to get on that podium right there. Silver medal for him. Bas van Steenbergen, the king, grabbing that bronze. Let's take a look right now. The newly crowned King and Queen of Crankworx 2022. It's been a while since we've had a 4-stop season. Makes it that much harder to stay consistent and last all season for these riders.
Yeah, so many disciplines, so many stops, a lot of traveling. It's a long, hard-fought season.
So let's listen in here on the awards ceremony. There's our King and Queen of Crankworx, Bas van Steenbergen and Caroline Buchanan.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today is the start of a year-long celebration, a year-long reign of the 2022 King and Queen of Crankworx. The most difficult accomplishment in mountain biking. Our King and Queen have collected points for results as they have fought for their shot at winning this incredible title. And of course, $20,000 in prize money. It's the ultimate mind over matter of test for riders' willpower, guts, and endurance. Mikey Hatterer, it's time to announce our Crankworx royalty for 2022.
Introducing the first ever 2-time King of Crankworx, the 2021 King, backs it up here in Rotorua for 2022. He actually secured the title yesterday after downhill, but make some noise for a 2-time King of Crankworx, riding for I11 Hyperbikes, Bas van Steenbergen!
And of course, it all came down to the wire today, and it's probably been one of the tightest races to the title of Queen we have ever seen. Such an impressive performance all year by the one and the only, our Queen of Crankworx for 2022, Caroline Buchanan!
2022 King and Queen of Crankworx, Bash Van Seebergen and Caroline Buchanan!
There you go. You see the emotion of a hard-fought season. So many mornings waking up going, all right, I got to do whatever I can to make myself the best bike rider as possible. And then those competition mornings, waking up already nervous before breakfast. And it all comes out right here.
Oh my God, dude. Oh, so sick. Yeah. I'm about to tear up.
Yeah, so good to see Caroline work through all that adversity this season. Some big injuries, some big crashes. Things didn't go to plan, but she ended up exactly where she wanted to be, the queen of Crankworx.
I'm excited about watching tomorrow's slopestyle as well, because we have Sam Blankenstock sitting in second place in the King hunt right now, and we've got Jackson Frew sitting in third. But we also have Thomas Lemoine competing in slopestyle tomorrow with an opportunity to win some points. We talked about it a little bit today, but King and Queen, $20,000. Second place in those rankings, $10,000. Third place, $5,000. So still some big prizes up for grabs, and we'll be following that story tomorrow during slopestyle as well. So what a day. We still have more for you tomorrow. This was a great Cliff Speed and Style Rotorua. Final thoughts, Alan?
Man, I'm just so glad we got it done. We talked about the conditions all day. The course, they made it happen. We got it done just in time as the rain started to fall on the final run. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. It ain't over yet. I'm stoked.
And now we do it all over again. The drama continues. We're going to go to sleep, wake up, keep our fingers crossed, see what the skies are doing. Thank you for joining us out here for Cliff Speed and Style Rotorua. We will see you tomorrow for the final stop of the slopestyle season. You're not going to want to miss it.